Hi listeners, this is Deborah from Mystic Wolf SOULCRAFTS, and I was supposed to have one of my good friends and fellow intuitives on again, but something came up for the third time, so I figured I'd just do another episode on my own. I was supposed to do a few episodes already, but with guests, but stuff keeps coming up, but it is Mercury retrograde, so I think the universe just has something else in store for me, so I just have to be creative, and we're, in the middle of this Mercury retrograde, and I can tell it's a really, intense one. It's really been messing with a lot of electronics and mechanic and electronic stuff. It's been messing with all kinds of stuff. My friend came over this morning, and she was supposed to stay till noon, and this afternoon I was gonna record the podcast with my friend, who I was gonna call on Facebook. Anyway, so the car broke down, the battery was dead, so my friend was unable to get back home. Then she needed to do a conference call for work, so I offered her my laptop to use, so I had to reschedule the podcast with my friend. So this has been the third time that we've had to find another time, but we just go with the flow. Both of us are intuitives, so we know that we shouldn't try to force anything, that it'll happen when it happens. The universe has its own timing, and we just have to go with the flow. And I guess Mercury just does not agree with the timing, so it wants me to do something else, but I'm not letting it stop me. I'm gonna have to just be a little more creative. Welcome everyone to Mystical Tea Time, where we drink tea and talk about all things ascension and spirituality. So today we were supposed to be talking about spiritual awakening and living a spiritual life with my good friend Nicole, and she's also a medium and a healer, and I promise you she will be on pretty soon in one of the next episodes. But I actually have something else that I would love to share with you guys. We've been going through a lot of changes collectively and burning off a lot of old patterns as a society, and I think we can all agree that it's been very intense. For those of you who work with elemental dragons or just energies in general, you may be able to tell right away that they are very present right now collectively in the field. So me and Nicole decided that it would be a really good idea to air an old private Facebook Live that we recorded a long time ago about elemental dragons, because the timing for it is so right, and back when we recorded it, we posted it in a private Facebook group for just a few people, but now the time has come to share it to a larger audience. And again, who am I to judge the universe and its timing? We just have to go with the flow, and it felt really right and appropriate to offer this episode again for a larger public. So for those of you who know me from my YouTube channel or social media accounts, welcome here to my new podcast. For those of you who are new, my name is Deborah, and I am a multi-dimensional channel and healer, intuitive artist, and writer. If you want to stay up to date on all the podcast episodes, make sure to go to anchor.fm/mysticalteatime. There you can find all available podcast links such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Or listen by subscribing on YouTube. So let's get started. So I was supposed to be sitting here with my good friend, both of us drinking a cup of tea. Instead, I'm sitting here on my own, and I'm just going to be talking to you guys about dragons, and I'm sitting here drinking a cup of chamomile tea. So I created this podcast to invite guests and have a chat basically with a good cup of tea or coffee or whatever your preferred beverage may be. Up next is the Facebook Live about dragons, hosted by myself and my friend Nicole. Enjoy. So we're going to be talking about dragons, elemental dragons.
Yay. a topic that I hold near and dear. Um, so in my spiritual journey, dragons didn't come around right away. Like they came around probably, I want to say, a year ago. And I've been on this path for about 6 years. So it kind of took a while for them to work their way in and for me to kind of invite them in. But once they did, it was like very, very magical. And the first encounter that I had with dragon energy was what felt to me like a fire dragon. I don't know if you've ever had experienced like a fiery element dragon, have you?
I think, yeah, I think that like in Arizona where I used to live, you know that of course, but other people that are watching, not everyone knows. I used to live in Arizona, which is like the hottest state in the US.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I felt dragon energy present in the desert, and it felt like a mix of earth elemental and fire combined almost.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like, although I feel that they do carry like that elemental energy and can kind of be specialized in one element, they do hold multiple as well, in my experience anyway. So, yeah, that makes sense. Um, for me, the first one that came through as a fire dragon, at first I was like, whoa, I don't know this energy, like this is very different. Um, and then I tuned into it even more and realized, and then I felt, I'm clairvoyant, so I could see actually like the form of the dragon in my mind's eye. And she just felt very fiery. And she actually had given me a name. So if you connect, sometimes they'll give you a name, which is really cool. So then, you can use that to bring them in again another time, kind of like a link. But if they don't give you a name, that's totally fine too. But this one just so happened to give me her name. And it kind of felt like a more of a feminine quality to it. And which is interesting because 6 months later, I had an interaction and I was in a totally different place in my life where I needed a lot of grounding. I was in a totally different place where I needed a lot of grounding. And at that point, my fire dragon guide kind of just, left for a bit. And then in came this sturdy earth elemental dragon. And it was more of a male feeling energy to him. And he was very heavy, but not heavy in a negative sense, just heavy, very sturdy and very grounding. And, he looked different. His colors were different and he felt different. And, I worked with him for a while, and anytime that I would get a little bit scattered, or if I felt like a little too spacey or ungrounded, I could call him in and just tune into his energy, and he would just be right there. And I could feel him just help me center and bring my energy back down. And it's really cool working with their energy. I'm so passionate about it. I love it. They're very powerful.
Yeah. To get back to what you were saying earlier, I think you're right. Not a lot of people, like when they first start investigating their spirituality, or they're confronted with their spirituality, nobody's really gonna interact with dragons as their first spiritual experience. Most people start with spirit guides, angels, stuff like that. And I was kind of brought up in a spiritual way because my mom, who's watching, hello, she was always into all this kind of stuff, spirit guides, meditation. So I learned from her, and I started practicing all this stuff through her. But for years, all I did was just do automatic writing or have spirit guide contact, just angels, and focused on the angels and the elementals too, just like the fairies and stuff like that. But then yeah, like you, only about a year ago is when I first started like meeting dragon energies, basically. And I wasn't really seeking it out. It just kind of happened. And
Right.
then I started Googling it, like, what is this thing I experienced? Because it was like a really big energy, something that I hadn't experienced before. And it was clearly connected to nature or to my surroundings.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was in Arizona. So it's completely different. The landscape's different. The energy feels completely different. Right now, I'm in Belgium, where there's forests, there's trees, there's water, and of course Arizona is a desert. It's completely different, but it's not like there's still a bunch of elementals there. They're just different kinds or different, like it's a subtle difference. It's like a subtle difference in their, not frequency, not like one is better or worse than the other. It's just different.
Yeah.
And the dragon energies, I haven't really experienced it here yet, but I'm sure there's dragon elementals around here too. But over there, it's really strong. I think it's that mountain area over there. Like I feel that there's like strong dragon energy, like the connected to the mountains, like in a guardian type of way, that they protect like the mountains or something. And when you try to, like when you go hiking over there and you're open to it, you'll definitely be able to interact, because I didn't feel like they didn't want to interact. They definitely wanted to, like they're teachers. They're trying to teach us about the landscape, about the energy, about Earth. That's the experience I had.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they want us, they actually do, they want us to start working with them more. And there are so many different kinds of dragon energies that we can work with or call on. And they're actually here helping the planet. You know, they're helping to cleanse and purify, you know, through the
Yeah,
elements that
because
they
yeah,
carry.
that's really what I felt too. I think they only came into my life about a year ago because I was going through this really big transformation. Well, you know my whole story. I moved to the
Yeah.
other side of the world. My whole family situation changed. Basically everything you can think of that changes in the person's life changed in less than a year time for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and they came in at this time when I needed assistance with all this change. And I felt like, oh my God, I need something that's going to support me in all this change. And then suddenly there they were.
That's beautiful. So beautiful. Um, it's so interesting too, because a lot of the mythology varies, you know, surrounding dragons, but so many ancient cultures cover dragons. You know, there's dragon in so much folklore. Um, some of it is, you know, a little convoluted, and some of it, you know, can be a little confusing. But the ascended dragons, the ascended dragon collective, are the ones, you know, in spirit that can work with us right now and are working with the planet, you know. So like they have helped you, they've helped me. The fire dragon that came in for me was at a time where I was just feeling like I didn't know, I wasn't tapping into my creativity. I wasn't feeling strong. I was a little confused. And when she came in, she almost kind of lit that spark, and she was very strong, and almost like a force field. She wasn't as sturdy and grounded. It was more like a fiery, frenetic type of energy, just to kind of light my fire and get me started on the path that I needed to take. And I felt her with me all the time. Every time I meditated, I would connect with her and I would feel her there. And, you know, it's just a beautiful feeling and a beautiful connection that you can have with them. Once you choose to, you can call them in meditation. There's lots of dragon meditations. We could probably clip some of, you know, I think you had done one at one time, and I know that I've done a couple of like guided dragon meditations, or maybe we can actually create some, and we can pin them to this live, right? We could probably do that.
Yeah. Yeah, because like dragons, it's like how you were explaining it earlier. To me, it's really similar to the spirit animal connections that I'm doing now. Like I'm connecting people with their spirit animals, and I feel like when they're going through a specific thing in their life, an animal will come forward that really will help them with that specific thing. And I feel like it's the same way with the dragons.
Yes.
They'll help you on a personal level with specific issues. And like with me, last year, I was going through an emotional tough time. And I did a dragon meditation that I found online by Callista, that lady, that the unicorn lady,
The
basically.
unicorn lady.
Yeah, but she does all kinds of stuff: angels, dragons, unicorns, ascended masters. So I did one of her meditations, and I saw, because I get messages, yeah, like in my third eye, I hear things, I feel energies. But I saw, like, the moment I closed my eyes, I clearly saw a dragon behind me, wrapping its wings around me, basically holding me, like supporting me. And I was just sitting on my bed, and I closed my eyes, not even for a second, and I saw this dragon around me.
That's amazing.
And what I felt like intuitively, I knew that it was like a water dragon. And I'm like, are there water dragons? Is that a real thing? Does that exist? Am I making stuff up? And then I told you about it. I think I said, I think I just saw a water dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes sense because water is connected to emotions. And I needed emotional support. So it would make sense that a water dragon would come forward and would hold me, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. And another thing that I noticed was that once I did start working with the dragon energy, the dragon guides, I would start feeling their presence around other people too. So I think once you start tapping into that realm and those energies, you just kind of hone in on it. It just makes you more sensitive and kind of builds that connection, and you can feel them, just much more, just like when you work with angels.
Yeah, because you recognize the type of energy, because each being, or like multidimensional being, is a different kind of energy that you feel. And then you've remembered what that feels like, so you're gonna pick it up when it when it's present in your surroundings or with other people that you're focusing on. You're gonna recognize that energy.
Yes, and they definitely want to help us. They're definitely a part of these ascension energies, that people are experiencing, because we're moving out of those old patterns and we're moving into a finer frequency. And the Dragon Collective is definitely a part of, assisting our planet, or assisting us as a species to do that, to elevate our consciousness and our awareness. And I really think that, they want us to work with them and recognize that, because they can offer us so much in the way of healing and guidance and protection and, stuff like that. So I definitely recommend tapping into them.
Yeah, just like with any being, basically, or guides or spirit, like angels, you have to ask. They don't want to interfere with your free will. So just like with any angels or whatever type of being you're trying to connect with, it's up to us to also be aware of their presence and to ask.
Right.
So yeah, because they're not going to interfere when you don't want, like they don't know if you want their help, and they're not going to do anything until you're open to it, or at least you don't. Like in my case, I wasn't sitting there, please dragons help me, because I had no idea what a dragon was. But I think subconsciously I was open to it, and I was asking for help. And I somehow said, I need help with this. Source, send whatever you have to help me. And then there was a dragon. So
Yeah. And they definitely do. They embody that light and that energy to where they can help us. And they may be around, but like you said, like for the angels, you know, it comes with the asking and the building that relationship of sorts with that energy frequency, that makes that bond a little bit stronger and allows them to work with us and to show us things during meditation and stuff like that. So.
But I think, yeah, definitely when you do ask dragons to help, be prepared for your life to be turned upside down. because they will show you stuff that you aren't comfortable seeing. If you ask them, help me because I have this and this and this issue, they will show you.
Yeah.
So you have to, and that's what they're there for too. They want you to be courageous. They want to support you, and they know that you can do it, that you're strong enough, and that's why they're there to show you too, that really the strength is within you.
Yes, definitely.
And they're
They are
basically, like with any energetic being, they're just a mirror of you too, in a way. And you're going to see the type of dragon that you need to see, because that's an aspect of yourself that you need to see at that time. Like with you, with the fire dragon, that was an aspect that you already possessed, but you just needed to see it. You
Right.
needed to see yourself in that way.
Yes, and
basically.
then integrate it. And then we integrate that part of ourselves. That's a great point. And they're very much about empowerment and help.
I think I just channeled that. I don't know. I have no idea where that came from. It was just there. Okay.
Nice. Right on.
Yeah, but it makes a lot of sense because that's how it is with all energies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Yeah,
link
and
is within us, and we're activating and integrating it. So you channeled it.
yeah, but it makes perfect sense because and yeah, what I was gonna say about the dragons too. Yeah, so now we've talked a little bit about personal guardian dragons, basically, or like spirit animal dragons, because spirit animals, that's not just like living animals that exist. That's also mythological animals like the dragons, unicorns, stuff like that, all that kind of stuff. They're all animals, but like dragons, we know that they've lived in times like Atlantis, Lemuria, Avalon, though all those places that existed a long time ago, but that have basically ascended, and we can't access them anymore in 3D. But dragons were there once at a 3D level. They existed, and that's why we still see like evidence basically about them, like stories, written pieces of artwork that have dragons on them from the Middle Ages or older, because they were a very real part of reality a long time ago.
Yes, they were. And then they ascended. Yep. And yeah.
Hello, we have Linda joining us.
Hi, Linda.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just watch the replay to watch what you missed. We were kind of just talking about our dragon experiences so far. And yeah, that we can have personal guardian dragons. That's basically what we were saying. But then, yeah, there's also dragons that guard pieces of like parts of the land, basically. Yeah, do you know more about that, or?
I know there are dragon ley lines.
Yeah.
On the planet. You know, they work with the ley lines, and there's places on the planet where the dragon energy is very concentrated. And I also have learned throughout my research that they actually form this kind of shield, I guess you want to call it, around the planet.
Like, yeah, like a kind of energetic grid, kind of.
Yeah, like an energetic grid that is burning off all of these older templates that are kind of ready to ascend with, you know, throughout
kind of what the individual dragons are doing for us, like I was explaining earlier with my stuff that I said, I want to get rid of all this emotional stuff, help me get rid of it. And that's kind of what they're doing for us on an individual level, but then they do the same on a planetary level, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes, they're doing planetary level, also an individual level. Absolutely. So it's very much a purifying, while also helping us individually to become more empowered, because they're very much about us being empowered on our paths here as we move through this process, you know.
Why do you think dragons got such a bad reputation during, like, throughout the years? I mean, in the West, then I mean, because in the East, they've never had a bad reputation in Asia, but like in Western Europe and the US, people look at them as like, oh yeah, the knight has to go slay the dragon because the dragon is evil and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's like I think there's a mixed reason for it. And I know that they're still considered very lucky in the East. They're a huge totem of luck and success. In my readings, I've kind of found information that points to their, you know, when some dragons ascended, they didn't all ascend. So some, you know, that may kind of point to a reason of why the ones that didn't, they kind of fell, I guess, you know, into a denser vibration. And perhaps, you know, this is just speculation, but I'm just thinking maybe the denser ones that fell into a denser vibration, you know, got that negative connotation attached to them. But, you know, some of it might also be that whole, you know, reptilian mind aspect of the ego and how that is kind of labeled as reptilian. And I can kind of see like a link there between the dragon features and how all that kind of got tied in together as being a negative thing. That's just my opinion. I don't really know for sure, you know. I'm sure there are different reasons throughout, you know, different specific reasons throughout each culture. But we, you know, the ones that we are choosing to connect with are the ascended spirit guide dragons, who work through the light. So, I don't know, what do you think?
My first dragon experience, well, like intentional dragon experience, was during a meditation, like a journey to Avalon. That was like a 45-minute meditation. I think I even emailed it to you because I was like, I did this great meditation. You have to do it too. I'm going to email it to you.
Yeah.
And I wasn't preparing to meet a dragon or anything. It was just a journey through Avalon. And I remember that I was there, and then like my team of light basically started coming up to me, like walking up to me. But then there was suddenly this big thing that was flying towards me, and it was that same blue dragon that like the water dragon that was holding me.
Yeah.
And I remember that it kind of swooped me up, and I was on its back, and it was just flying around with me, and I felt completely safe. I felt completely calm and like held, taken care of, and safe and supported. And I remember that it was a really positive experience, and I got out of that meditation thinking that I was just flying on a dragon's back. Well, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah,
I know that in those like times like Avalon, Lemuria, Atlantis, I know that dragons existed. I feel it, and I've experienced it in my meditations. They existed, and they communicated with people in a peaceful way. They were collaborating, they were working together, and I think that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to collaborate again, but they're on another. We're here, we're in 3D. They're up here, so we have to reach up a little bit. They have to reach down a little bit to reach us. And together, their energy combined with ours, we can kind of accelerate this ascension process. But people don't go, like, if I would go and tell people, like my friends, most of my friends, like, hey, I talk to dragons, they'd be like, what, dragons aren't real? Dragons only exist in fairy tales. But then I would be like, yeah, but what are fairy tales? They're basically stories passed down from one person to the next. Where did they originally come from, these fairy tales?
Right. There's some truth there's some truth in
Yeah.
that. It's interesting that you mentioned the water dragons, because it reminded me of when we had done that journey into inner earth.
Yeah.
That visualization that we did, where we connected with inner earth, which is it's exists at a different vibration, and it was people, the beings that lived in Lemuria that kind of then integrated and went into the earth, and now they exist in a dimension there that we can also connect with, if we do it intentionally. And when I had seen you and I in that space, in that dimension, I think we were inside a cave, right? I think we were inside
a crystal cave kind of. Yeah, because that's the funny thing. For the people that don't know what we're talking about, we did a meditation together. She was on her side of the world, I was on my side of the world, and we were online together, and we did the same Steve Nobel transmission to Telos, like the subterranean, like the city underneath Mount Shasta in California. And so we did the meditation at the same time. We were in meditation for about 45 minutes, and afterwards we would log on again and talk to each other about it, and we saw the exact same thing. We were basically going through the same scenario without knowing it from each other.
Which is so amazing, because our spirits, our consciousness, met up, and we had this experience connecting with Telos, which is the city under Mount Shasta. And I remember seeing us, at the edge of the water there, and there were all these water dragons just swimming up and communicating with us, and it was just so peaceful and so serene, and you could feel their power, but we were working with them. And I think we were making these like little elixirs and kind of, giving it to the dragons. It was pretty
I remember amazing. You were telling me that, And I remember that the walls were kind of like crystal cave. It was a crystal cave with like light, like there was this big source of light, but it was like all over. It wasn't coming from one specific place. It was just all over and reflecting against the crystal walls. It was just really hard to say where this source of light was coming from. And then there was the pool of water, and like the little water dragons, like no, not really little water dragons, but they just felt peaceful. They felt peaceful and of a very high vibration.
Yes, absolutely. So there's dragon energy there too in inner earth.
And then there's also star systems that have like dragon beings that are like galactic dragons, because now we've talked about spirit animal dragons, guardian, like personal guardians. We've talked about earth guardians, like that are connected to this planet, but then there's also galactic dragons from other star systems. I've heard about it here and there, but I don't really know that much about it.
I don't know that much about the galactic dragons. I've yet to encounter that energy yet, but I'm sure that, that is something that we probably both will experience.
Probably tomorrow.
In the near future.
After we're done with this call.
It'll come in and be like, I'm here. I heard you guys talking about me. So, but yeah, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense that, there would be dragon beings carrying those galactic frequencies in as well. And I look forward to connecting with you guys when you're,
I think Dolores Cannon with her QHHT sessions, I think in one of her sessions, I saw like that she had this lady under hypnosis that was like she went back to a life as a dragon type of being, but a very positive dragon type of being. Yeah. Because people will automatically associate it with like a negative thing, but she was in a very, like, I remember that she was having a very positive experience, and that the dragon energy was actually, like the galactic dragon energy was a very ancient frequency, and that it's been one like around for a very long time, longer than a lot of the like it's one of the oldest like ET races basically in the universe or something is what I heard.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
would make sense that they would be here to assist us or like help this planet in this time of awakening.
Yes, absolutely. They're definitely contributing their power and strength to help us with ascension. Do you wanna see if anybody has anything, any questions or any experience that they want to share?
People that are watching that are live right now, if you have any experiences with dragon energies or you think you have experiences, please comment and we can talk about it. Or if you have questions about some of the stuff we said, talk about it, and we can continue the conversation.
Yeah,
and for those that are going to watch it on replay, you can also comment and we'll comment back later.
Yeah. You just read my mind, because that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, because I think a lot of, well, I hope that some people are going to watch it later still.
On replay.
Yeah.
Yes, and so I think it would be cool if we could, record, if you're open to it. Maybe I can do one and you can do one, and we can record meditations that we can post in a group for people to maybe a guided meditation to connect with dragons if they feel called to do that, or if they feel connected with the idea.
Yeah, maybe we could post something like asking who would like a guided meditation, and we'll see if there's a lot of people that would, or you can comment over here in this video, and if you would like to get a guided meditation, then, oh, there's a comment. It's Kelsey. I don't have any experience, but I'm excited to invite them into my life. Thanks so much for sharing. You're welcome.
Awesome.
And
okay. So Kelsey,
yeah, the fact that you're excited about it means that there's something that they have to offer. They have something that like to offer to you, I'm sure. If there's any like things that you're trying to get rid of, like emotionally, or like blockages that you feel, they're really good about like breaking through blockages. I've noticed they can definitely help you with that and like empower you. And if there's stuff that you're kind of scared of doing, like you're not sure, they're the ones to call upon if you need this extra like push. Definitely try it. Yeah, you can use a guided meditation, but I'm sure if you could just go in like a meditative state and try to just connect with them, that I'm sure you'll get a connection, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And that's exciting. I'm excited for you to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have that many people right now that are live. Yeah.
My little dragon's making a lot of noise next door. I hear that. My son.
Yeah, I haven't really encountered any dragon energy here in Belgium yet. I know that in England, like in Glastonbury, Avalon, that there's a lot of dragon energy there. And in Scotland, I know, because there's two lane lines crossing, I think, in Scotland somewhere. And that's like an energy point for dragons, I know.
Yes, I also know that the south of France, which there's, I actually was just reading about this recently, and also a year ago too. I think I sent it to you as well. I was reading this book called The Divine Sophia, and it's about, the divine feminine energy rising right now planetarily. And one chapter mentioned Mary Magdalene and the south of France, and how she kind of retreated there at one point. Yeah. And there's kind of stories that say that she went and lived in this cave for a little while by the water, and that she actually worked with this red dragon during that time. So I found that.
Your dogs are going crazy in the background, I think.
I found that to be very interesting, that there was a connection there, and that's a really big, South France is a big power point for dragon energy as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
it's very spread out throughout the world. They also are very present for us in our daily lives, if we so choose that method, you know?
Yeah. I know that in the US, in Arizona, where I used to live, you have Sedona, which is the like one of the spiritual hotspots in the US. Sedona.
Yes.
That's where a lot of these big YouTube guys live, like Victor Odo and Bridget Nielsen, Aaron Dowdy. They all live in Sedona, I think.
Yeah.
Because
And
there's something about it. There's all these red rocks. You have all the red rocks, but then the moment you enter Sedona, you feel this type of energy. It's this vibration. It's almost like electricity, and you start to feel it, and it goes like this. It's like raising you up, and you have to like either go with it or you have no choice. You have to raise up with it, and you feel a presence there. There's a strong presence of something really big.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely some kind of nature spirit, but like a really big nature spirit that guards that whole area.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel is, and it's there to really, like, everyone that enters that area is gonna be in some way uplifted and like is gonna shed some stuff that they don't need. Is gonna start purging stuff that they don't need. And that's really what I've experienced with like the dragons. That's what they do.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because when we think of fire, you know, dragons breathing fire, and fire being very, you know, purifying, and it helps to transmute lower vibrational energy, and, you know, with the flame and the energy and kind of transforming it. And
yes, I remember now what that it wasn't really a meditation that I had with dragons. It was kind of a ceremony for, I can't remember, a full moon ceremony, or I can't remember, like winter solstice, I don't know, some kind of ceremony I did with the dragon energy. And I remember I wrote down affirmations on little pieces of paper, like about 5 or 10 affirmations about like things that I really wanted to change for myself, or wanted to start focusing on more for myself. And I wrote them all down on little pieces of paper, and I would focus on the dragon energy, I remember. And like with each paper that I would burn, I would basically thank the dragons for assisting me in transmuting this for me, or helping me resolve this issue. And basically in each flame, I don't know who said it, one of these people that I follow online said it, like in each flame, there's a dragon, like an elemental dragon attached to each flame that you light up. Yes. And they're the ones, like their energy is what really helps transmute the energy. So when you do ceremonies, that's what you can try to focus on, bringing in these dragons through the fire. Like the fire can be your physical gate to bringing in the dragons.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I did it for like any transformational point, like an equinox or solstice, or any like thing you celebrate, full moon, dark moon, whatever you celebrate, that you use to like change things for yourself in your life, or just when you want to change something, you feel like you could use dragon energy. That's a good way to do it. Use fire in a ceremonial way, but be safe and don't burn your house down, of course.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Fire is a force, a very strong force that we need to be mindful with it as well.
Yeah, but we can definitely record a meditation and upload it to the group. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We can do that. We'll figure it out. We'll update all you guys about it, and you'll see about it in the group.
Yeah, and you know what? You could actually, this just kind of popped into my head. I don't know if you would if you would have to feel into it and see how you feel about it, but I know you do your spirit animal portraits. I'm wondering if you would be open to maybe tapping into dragon energy for people, if that might be something that you would be, open to doing, and maybe do like dragon portraits for people and see what comes of that. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I was thinking about stuff like that already, because now I'm about to do a dolphin portrait for somebody, and I know that like I've been getting little nudges of, hey, why won't you do extraterrestrial spirit guide like all this other crazy stuff, like ET guides, angels, archangels. Like, we have so much support. We have animals in spirit that are supporting us. We have like deceased family members that are still with us. We have angels. We have ascended masters. We have nature spirits like fairies, mermaids, unicorns, tree spirits, whatever. We have all these beings supporting us. Right now I'm focusing on the spirit animals, but I could, definitely.
That just popped in, so that was the dragons telling me, say this to her.
Yeah, that's something I'll have to think about. Yeah, definitely.
I'd definitely be interested in one. I would love that. So I'll message you privately about it.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be cool.
Did we kind of cover everything, or is there stuff that we're forgetting about the dragons?
I feel like we covered a little bit of, everything. I feel like, and then if there are questions, if people watch the replay and they have questions that, to things that we haven't mentioned or covered, that would be appreciated, and we would love to answer that.
Yeah, definitely. If you're watching the replay, please comment. If you have any questions, comment, and we can keep the conversation going.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
sign off.
Wrap it up for now, maybe, because it's getting kind of late for me. It's a quarter past midnight over here, and I have to get up at 6 in the morning.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. Let's wrap it up and say, I just want to say thank you to you.
Thank you for all your wisdom.
Thank you for
your wisdom. We're gonna try to do these live video chats like once a month or every couple of weeks about a different topic. So if there's like suggestions, also post about it in the group, and we'll have a live Facebook Live about it.
Yeah, definitely. And then maybe we can also incorporate some live card pulling at the end, see what wants to come through as well.
Yeah, we can do that too. Yeah, but now I'm kind of drained. Yeah, if I have these glasses on, usually I have contacts, but my eyes were really dry and it's late, so I said, okay, I'm just going with the glasses.
You look adorable. Okay, well, thank you guys for everybody that tuned in, and thank you for everybody that's watching the replay, and we will connect with you soon. Have a good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
So that was it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this replay of this really amazing episode I did with Nicole last year, and I'm so glad that you decided to tune in and join us for this episode about dragons. You can connect with me on my Facebook page, Instagram account, and YouTube channel and website. All details will be mentioned below in the description box, and I'd love it if you commented so we can keep the conversation going. And if you want to stay up to date on all the episodes, make sure to go to anchor.fm/mysticalteatime, and there you can find all available podcast links, or listen by subscribing on YouTube. And I'll see you next time, hopefully with a guest, because this Mercury retrograde apparently wants me to air a few episodes on my own first, but I have a lot of interesting ideas and interesting guests that I want to introduce to you guys. Bye.